Hello and welcome to Value Research Podcast. You're listening to First Page, a column written by Dhirendra Kumar. It's your life and your investments. Why trying to invest like the wealthy often backfires spectacularly. Some time back, I met someone who proudly told me about his aggressive growth strategy modeled after Warren Buffett's early investments. He had invested 60% of his savings in individual stocks, convinced that this was the best way to build wealth. When I asked about his other circumstances, the picture became clearer. He was the sole earner in his family, had 2 young children, a home loan with 8 years remaining, and parents approaching retirement age. His Buffett-inspired portfolio had lost 30% in recent months, and he was now contemplating taking a personal loan to meet some pressing family expenses. This gentleman had fallen into what I call the middle-class investment trap, the dangerous habit of copying investment strategies designed for circumstances entirely different from one's own. For years, I've been saying that whilst you and I can certainly learn principles from Warren Buffett and other investment gurus, we simply cannot invest like them. The same logic applies more broadly. Middle-class investors should not attempt to invest like high-net-worth individuals, and young beginners should not copy the strategies of older, established investors. The biggest input into how you should invest isn't some universal formula. It's the specific circumstances of your life. The wealthy have what I call circumstantial advantages that most of us lack. They typically have diversified income sources, substantial emergency funds, fewer dependents, and, often, safety nets in the form of family wealth and property. These factors enable them to take risks and weather market volatility in ways that would be financially catastrophic for middle-class families. Yet, investment content rarely acknowledges these differences. Social media is filled with stories of aggressive investors who stuck it rich. Still, you seldom hear about their backgrounds. Perhaps they had wealthy parents, spouses with steady incomes, or were betting money they could afford to lose entirely. When middle-class investors try to replicate these strategies without the supporting circumstances, disaster often follows. The key insight here is that when markets decline and your portfolio value drops, the percentage loss matters far less than how critical that money was to your life. A 20% decline in a wealthy investor's portfolio is a temporary irritation that prevents him from boasting about his investment prowess while sipping single malt whiskey with his hangers-on. The same 20% decline for a middle-class family might mean delaying a child's education, defaulting on loan payments, or being unable to handle a medical emergency. This is why your investment strategy must be tailored to your specific life circumstances rather than relying on what sounds impressive or what has worked for someone else. How secure is your job? Are you in a volatile industry or a stable government job? Do you have loans that require regular payments? Is your spouse earning, or are you the sole breadwinner? Do you expect an inheritance someday, or are you likely to support aging parents? Are your children's education expenses approaching, or do you have decades before such needs arise? These aren't peripheral considerations. They're the most important factors in determining how you should invest. The tragedy is that by trying to invest like the wealthy, middle-class investors often end up poorer. They take inappropriate risks, panic during market downturns, and make forced sales at the worst possible times. Meanwhile, they overlook strategies that would work for their circumstances, such as systematic investment plans, balanced asset allocation, and maintaining adequate emergency funds. The solution isn't to avoid equity investments or play it overly safe. It's to design an investment approach that matches your reality and not someone else's. This might mean lower equity allocation than what's fashionable, higher emergency funds than what's typically recommended, or choosing more liquid investments than what's theoretically optimal. Remember, the goal isn't to impress anyone with your investment sophistication. It's to build wealth steadily while ensuring your family's financial security isn't compromised by market volatility. That's a goal best achieved by being honest about your circumstances and investing accordingly rather than copying strategies designed for lives very different from your own. Your investment guru might be brilliant, but he's not living your life. Only you can design a strategy that fits it.